So as I've made pretty clear by now, I've just finished doing my GCSE exams, and I don't know if it's because of COVID or what, but it was such an unorganised mess that it was impossible for me to not make a video on it. I won't discuss everything in a single video because I cannot be bothered, but I'll hopefully get to discussing everything eventually. Some of these complaints are specific to these GCSEs and some of these complaints are more general. So from inbred adjudicators to the girl in the physics paper who can run up the stairs at superhuman speed, we'll talk about it all in this mini-series, I think. Anyway, let's go. For anyone who doesn't know how AQA science exams go, we have triple science for the smart people and combined science for the rest of them. And triple science exams are about half an hour longer than combined science exams. Because of this, usually when you do one of our exams, when the combined science people finish, everyone stops writing, and we wait for them to leave before we continue with our exams. Now, because we all expected to be told to stop writing, when the combined scientists have finished, we were expected to still continue, because of which a lot of us ended up losing 10 minutes of our exam time. Now, when we went to do our actual GCSEs, we had to do it in another room. We didn't know why at the time, but when it came to the actual instance, they explained to us that it's so that the other people don't disturb us. So when they leave, we continue and no one would know it's happening. Seems sensible, right? Wrong! They told us they were doing this to prevent that. However, right after saying that, they reminded us that they had put us in a room full of other people doing other exams at different times. And it wasn't just one, there were like 3 odd classes. That doesn't change anything at all. I don't know what it is with certain exams, but they always try and make the scenarios in the papers as realistic as possible. Clearly they realised that writing a page-long essay about how some random African bellend squashed a scorpion isn't the most useful way to be using my time, so they had to try and create a real-life application for it. For instance, in one of the English papers, there was a story about a scorpion who stung a baby, and Kino, the dad or something, wants to squash the scorpion, whilst Joanna, or whatever her name is looking after the baby. And one of the questions were, a student said, Kino, you useless spaz, why can't you be more like Joanna? To what extent do you agree? So my question, are those first 3 words necessary? Even if you actually did get a student to say that, it doesn't change the question at all. And another question. You have been chosen by some organisation to make a piece of creative writing about so-and-so. No, we haven't. We know we haven't. Mate, we're not stupid. Like, is this supposed to encourage us or something? And something I've noticed since like year 5 or something, in many papers, they always have to put in some stupid feminist nonsense somewhere. Like in the first triple physics paper, there was one question when there was a girl who somehow was able to run up about 12 stairs in 1.5 seconds, which is like, fair play, I guess. The first part of the question was about energy transfers or something like that. But then there was the second part of the question. A boy runs up the same stairs. They use the same amount of power, but take longer. Why do you think this is? Answer, 'cause he's fat. He's a right fat plonker, ain't he? They wrote it in scientific terms, but that's what they were saying. Shut up, Lightning, you're just saying this because you're a misogynist who hates women. Or whatever the new SJW buzzword is. Listen, if that were the one time it happened, I would probably ignore it. But on maths papers, they do the same thing as well. This is the box plots for girls running speed, using this data. Now plot the box plot for boys, using this data. What? That's intentional. And trust me, for every 3 Edexcel papers you do, without fail, at least one will do this, taking the bloody mick. And that's the end of the video. And for any of you who did the 2022 exams that may be watching this video, I know what you're thinking. Lightning, how can he talk about the 2022 exams being a mess and not talk about the advanced information being wrong? Don't worry, I'll talk about that eventually. Don't know when, but I will. But anyway, video's over. And by the way, just to end on this, for that one triple science biology question, the answer was 1,400 or 14,000 or whatever order it was, I can't remember. But if you got 17,000, you're wrong.